every morning from 5 to 9. But Mr. Brian Sussman represents the finest in Bay Area talk show radio hosting. He has been on the air for a number of years with KSFO and now anchors the morning show. And that is required listening for probably almost all of us here. And for those of you who aren't listening, well, you should be. 560 KSFO radio has been a great help to the Tea Party movement. They have been helping to make this event happen every year. The Silicon Valley Tea Party Patriots appreciate very much the efforts of KSFO radio and helping to make this event happen. So we appreciate KSFO. We very much appreciate Mr. Brian Sussman being very pleased to come here and speak to us today. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to shut up. Mr. Brian Sussman. Thank you, Tea Party!
Boy, look at all these mean-spirited, hateful rhetoric, inciting violence types. Whoa, man! I love coming to these tea parties where there are spontaneous outbursts of the Pledge of Allegiance. We sing God Bless America. And I love each and every one of you. Thanks for being here. You're doing your part. We really appreciate it. And I'm looking at some of these signs. If you had my view right now, again, folks, somebody's got to tell Nancy Pelosi, okay? I hate to bring up that name at a wonderful event like this, but somebody needs to tell Nancy Pelosi that this is not AstroTurf, okay? This is grassroots. I'm looking at the signs. I don't see them pre-printed by the SEIU, okay? I don't see that. Love, that one's good. Bend over for your IRS exam. That's very good. Well, there's that weird symbol that they're going to use again in 2012, another symbol of tyranny. I like that one. It's that strange Obama symbol. Well, let me see here. We need a path to prosperity. Yes, indeed, sister. It's coming. It's coming. Alan West for president. I like that. I like that. I mean, think about this. Only in America. Here's a guy 6 years ago on the battlefield, okay? In a firefight against Al-Qaeda, and now he's in the Congress of the United States of America. Brilliant. Something over there about a Kenyan. Oh, you birther, you! Well, now that one in the back takes a little thinking. This is the one that sometimes the people on MSNBC, MSLSD, that's it. They wouldn't get this one. Let's party like it's 1773, way in the back. I love you. That's right. Right on. Okay, let's see. Who said this? Who said this? Ready? Ready? April 15th, traditional tax day. Lower rates of taxation will stimulate economic activity. What an audience. And so raise the level of personal and corporate income as to yield within a few years an increased, not a reduced, flow of revenues into the federal government. That would be John F. Kennedy. He got it. He got it. Okay, here's one for you. Scott Hale was the chaplain of the Senate about 100 years ago. Somebody came up to Dr. Hale and said, "Doctor, do you pray for the senators?" And he said, "No. I look at the senators and I pray for the country." Okay. I'm going to see, this audience can handle this, all right? This audience can handle numbers. You guys can handle numbers because it's all about the numbers right now. Now listen, I am an unabashed social conservative. I'm going to tell you, that's who I am. That's where I've been my whole life. I was raised that way. That's just who I am. But you look at my family and you know what I'm talking about. You look at some of the endeavors I've been involved with, especially with trying to get kids out of foster care into adoptive homes. I mean, I'm a socially conservative guy. Thank you very much. But right now, if we don't fix this numbers issue, if we don't fix the numbers, we're not going to be able to fight for the social stuff, because this country's going to go. We're going to say, gee, why is it so hot in here? And what is this handbasket I'm in? I mean, we are. If we don't stop it, we got to stop the bleeding here, folks. Annual budget deficit right now, $1.6 trillion. Now, Bush's last full year in office, we conservatives were not happy because that budget deficit got to $450 billion. And we're saying, hello, operator, this is not working out very well. The next year, we have the shared budget between Bush and Obama. TARP is involved in this thing, and it goes up to $1.5 trillion. And this current president is pushing it even further. Now, when we talk about trillions, this is just the budget deficit, $1.65 trillion. That rolls over into the national debt. National debt is $14 trillion. So you got to stop and think here. Tell this to your hippie friend in the next cubicle, okay, at work. Just share this one with him. How much is $1 trillion? If we spent $1 a second every day of the week, every day of the year, $1 a second, it would take us 31,000 years to reach $1 trillion. That number is gargantuan. If we spent $1 million a day since Jesus was born, go back 2,000 years, $1 million a day, you still wouldn't have spent $1 trillion. Now, this is just incredible where we are. So here's the problem. We've got a budget deficit of $1.6 trillion right now. If you took all the people in the United States who are making $100,000 a year or more, $100,000 a year or more, and taxed them 100%, we would not have enough money to meet that budget deficit. So taxing people is not going to do it. We have to cut, we have to cut, we have to cut. You could do this, you could do this. Again, a lot of numbers here. Appreciate you hanging in there with me, but this is important stuff. You could take every taxpayer, every one of you paying taxes, we could multiply your tax by times 2.4. Times 2.4. You know me, you listen to me on the radio, I love doing this number stuff. So take everybody who's paying taxes and multiply your tax burden by 2.4. So in other words, if you're at 10% tax bracket, you're going to be 24%. If you're at 15%, you're going to be 36%. If you're at 35%, you're going to be 85%. Get what I'm saying? If we did that, we could actually cover the budget deficit. Now, folks, this is insanity. We got to stop the bleeding here. And what are we spending this money on? I mean, it's absolute insanity. There's a website, I found it on the radio program today. I'm going through this thing and my eyes are popping out. This is on the White House website, and I don't know, I guess this is all about transparency. They've got page after page after page of programs that aren't working. They actually publicize this as part of the transparency. Well, if they know they're not working, why don't they just cut them out of the budget? Hundreds of these programs. And I realize for some of these things you're thinking, it's not a lot of money, like the $2.6 million to study the drinking habits of Chinese prostitutes. Okay. This is a real government program. The $400,000 in taxpayer money to pay researchers to cruise bars in Buenos Aires to find out why gay men engage in risky sexual behavior. I'm not making this up. It's all true. We're spending this kind of money. $2.5 million on potato research. Okay, we don't need to spend our money like this. And by the way, for those who say, well, those rich people, they're not paying their fair share. The heck they aren't. Okay, top 10% of all wage earners, those are folks making $113,000 a year or more. That can be a combined income. $113,000 combined income. You're the top 10% of all wage earners. Those folks are paying 70% of all taxes. So don't tell me the higher wage earners aren't paying their fair share, because they absolutely are. And then, that's the federal level. State level. Well, state level. We're $26 billion in the hole right now. Now, we're going to tax our way out of this? We already have the highest sales tax in the nation. We already have the highest gas tax in the nation. Right now, when you take up, you're paying about 45 cents for every gallon in tax. We also have the highest income tax in the nation. And by the way, the state considers you rich if you're making $38,000 a year. You're in the 9.5% bracket. Highest corporate tax west of the Mississippi. You would think with all these taxes we wouldn't have this problem. But the problem is they get more money. What do they want to do? They want to spend it. Folks, we don't have the money. There is no more money. Now, I will tell you, the 800-pound gorilla in the room is this thing called the public employee unions. And I want to say this, thank you. I want to say this right off the bat. I love my police. I love you guys. I love my police. I love the fire department. I love those guys driving the ambulances. I love all that stuff. If you've ever needed their services, and sadly I have. I've needed the police before. I've needed the fire department before. I've needed those guys that are EMTs. I've needed their services. I love what they do. I don't know why they do what they do, but they do it. I love the fact that they're doing this for us. Hey, and I love our teachers. Okay? I love our teachers. I will tell you, with the teachers, with the cops, with the firemen, with the ambulance drivers, all of those who are dedicated to their profession and they want to do the job right, I want to see them paid well because I value those services. But these unions, what they've done is they've taken these entities and they've turned them into slush funds so that they can use money to hire the people they want in politics and make sure that the people they don't want are never hired. They're feathering their own nest. And shame on those union leaders, not the union members, shame on the union leaders, and shame on all of those politicians, mostly Democrat in the state of California, but there have been a few Republicans as well, who have brokered these deals fully knowing that eventually they would not be sustainable. Just literally, as we keep saying, kicking the can down the road. Well, guess what? This is the end of the road. This is it. We're here. It's the end of the road. There's no more money. There's no more money, folks.